body kicking flat, but flavor bitter batter, chitter chatter, madder than the Mad Hatter. I bet you buy shit, come by fatter. I got the data to turn your body into antimatter.
All right, everybody, we're back here on Pickin Winnahs. We got a great NFC Central matchup, and look who's joined us, an NFC Central kind of guy. Our good friend Bill Gray has joined us to pick some winners.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming by, Bill Gray. All right, Bill Gray is here to pick some winners. He has a vested interest in our first game on Sunday, an NFC Central clash, old-timey divisional rivals. The Chicago Bears and Soldier Field host Aaron Rodgers, the discount double checker, and the Green Bay Packers for a big NFC Central clash. These two teams are at a crossroads. The Green Bay Packers, I believe, they're what, 2-1 right now?
1-2.
1-2. Both teams are 1-2 right now.
1-2.
No, the Bears are 2-1. The Packers are 1-2.
Yep.
So each team wants to show that they are the best team in the NFC Central. Will doesn't think either of them will be the best team in the NFC Central. But it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Bears coming off the big Monday Night Football win against the New York Jets. Packers coming off a loss against, who did they lose to?
Lions.
The Lions at Ford Field.
This is Detroit Billy.
This is our Detroit Billy. Billy Green is here. So in this game, Green Bay at Chicago, I think it's going to be a little bit of an upset. I think I think there's no way that the Green Bay Packers are going to want to start 1-3. That's the city. They've got nothing else to do, Green Bay, except for play football.
Eat cheese.
Eat cheese.
Ice fishing later on.
Ice fishing in 2 months. But I think they're not going to want to lose 2 games on the road to their rivals in a row. I think Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, he checks his insurance policy, and he gets a last-minute victory over the Chicago Bears. What do you say, Joe?
I got to disagree with you on this one. I think that the Chicago Bears are going to beat Mr. Double Check because I think the spirit of Brian Urlacher is in the Bears defense right now. God rest his soul. And I feel like they had the upset where they lost against the Bills earlier in the season, and none of us called that. None of us thought that they were going to lose at home to the Buffalo Bills.
No, that was a wild game.
And I think that they're not going to lose another home game especially against a division rival, especially against a team that's been looking a little weak. If you really look at him, Aaron Rodgers has been spending a lot of time on his derriere, on his butt, if you will. So I'm going to say that the Chicago Bears come in there and they just steamroll them.
Okay.
Boom.
Will, you got an opinion on this one?
Well, here, I do no research before I do any of my picks. They used to call me the Swami until that fat-ass piece of shit Chris Berman took that name from me. Now they just call me the Wizard. But, yeah, as much as I want to get a loss out of the Bears this week. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Packers, they got a guy named Jordy on their team. I mean, that's a girl's name.
Jordy Hendrick-Seavey.
Yeah, Jordy
Hendrick-Seavey, and then they got the guy with the long hair. I mean, it's just not. They're no good. They're no good this year. That's all.
Which guy with the long hair?
Clay Matthews. Or did he cut it, man?
They got A.J. Hawk, too.
They got A.J. Hawk with the long hair.
He's got long, fruity-looking locks, too.
Man,
feathered Farrah Fawcett-looking,
So we got two for the Bears and I'm the one holding out for the Packers.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I might be sitting pretty or looking like a dope.
Either or
both. I could be a pretty looking dope like Jessica Simpson.
Oh, she's a pretty looking dope.
I know. Anyways, up next, we got another divisional battle. We got, this time in the AFC South, we got the struggling Tennessee Titans at 1-3 going to the onward and upward Indianapolis Colts at 1-2. Who do you got? Who do you got in this one, guys? I'll go last.
I got Indianapolis. Indianapolis had a slow start.
Tough two.
Andrew Luck, the Lady Luck wasn't in his favor the first couple games.
They played some good teams too.
They played Denver, who was a good team, and then they played Philadelphia, who was a really good team right now. And I don't know, they won last week, and I think they're going to win again. I think Andrew Luck is the Neanderthal quarterback of the future. I think he's going to bring the human race back many steps. But me play football, me play good. That's the Andrew Luck Neanderthal sort of mind frame when you look like that and you are a lesser being.
Sure. I gotta agree with Joe on this one. I gotta pick Indianapolis as well. The Titans just haven't been any good since they got rid of Pac-Man Jones and Doug Collins.
Doug Collins was a big loss to them.
Yeah, rest in peace, Doug Collins.
Yeah, I gotta go Colts.
Pretty cut and dry. I like the Colts too.
Yeah.
They had a tough start, two tough games to open up the season, but I think they're going to go onwards and upwards, and they're going to, restate their claim as the belle of the ball in the AFC South.
Cro-Magnon quarterback.
Cro-Magnon quarterback is the belle of the ball in this AFC South.
That's how I'm looking at it.
Next, we travel all the way to jolly old England, to Wimbledon Stadium in jolly old England. Home of Phil Collins. We've got Ryan Tannenbaum and the 1-2 Miami Dolphins facing the dear old Silver and Black 0-3, coming off of a tragic loss at Foxborough Stadium against the New England Patriots, where that bat face Vince Wilfork, we could have had that one, Joe.
I'm not happy about this for many reasons. Number one, the Oakland Raiders are one of the teams in the NFL that are the rebels against the NFL. And they always have been, and Papa Al started them as the rebels against the NFL. And this counts as a home game towards the Oakland Raiders. Their home game is going to take place in Wembley Stadium over in jolly old England, if you will, the country that we left to come to America to start this beautiful country that we have here.
1856.
We got rebels going back and being forced to play a home game in a country that they're not happy with. They got to fly all the way from Oakland, California, over to England, Europe, to play against the Miami Dolphins, who they got an easy trip from Miami to England. You go right over the ocean. You don't got to go over a whole continent, then the ocean. That's like, you go from Miami to England, you watch 2 movies. You go from Oakland to Miami, that's like 4 to 5 in-flight movies.
Yeah.
And I can only watch some Jennifer Lawrence movie, Hunger Games 7, or
Right. Playbook.
yeah, exactly. I can only watch so many of those.
Bone.
Winter's Bone before I lose my mind, and I don't want to ever play football again. And I'm upset about this. I picked the Miami Dolphins, and I'm upset, and I picked this in protest against the NFL, against Roger Goodell, against everything that he does, and he doesn't stand up for the teams in the NFL, and he doesn't stand up for freedom. And back to you, Ron Harvey.
I'm going to have to disagree. Oakland Raiders, I think they're going to be motivated. It was a close loss to the Patriots. I think the Oakland Raiders, they started off the season kind of flat against the Jets. They lost to the Jets barely, and they went down, and then they're up a little bit. Whereas the Miami Dolphins, they started up here, they beat the Patriots, and then they lost the Bills, and then they got beat up by the Chiefs in Miami.
The Queefs.
The Queefs. I think the Oakland Raiders, they're going to be motivated. They're going to be playing against a crappy quarterback in Ryan Tannenbaum. I think they're going to get their first victory of the year in front of Jimmy Page and Phil Collins.
Roger Daltrey.
Roger Daltrey's going to be
The
there.
ghost of Keith Moon.
The ghost of Keith Moon. They're going to be, the spirit of rock and roll will lift the Raiders to their first victory of the 2014 NFL season.
I will agree with you that if the ghost of John Bonham makes an experience that no one has ever seen before,
If the ghost of John Bonham, if he haunts Khalil Mack,
and he drives him to work harder, I feel like the Raiders will win. But I feel like if that doesn't happen, then I got to go with the Miami Dolphins, and that breaks my heart every time.
Go with Oakland.
Does Oakland still have Sebastian Janikowski?
Yes, they
Yes, they do. He scored a couple field goals.
We're down for Oakland.
Good man. All right. Speaking of home teams, up next we've got the Detroit Lions, the Donkey Kong Sioux, and the Detroit Lions traveling to New York, New Jersey, to MetLife Stadium to play Geno Smith and the New York Football Jets. Not to be confused with the Winnipeg Hockey Jets.
and the Jetabakas.
And the Jetabakas.
And the actual airplanes.
And
Actual airplanes. The
DC-12s.
So who do you got in this one, Will? I think I know the answer between the Detroit Lions and the New York Jetabakas.
I'm a big homer, but even beyond that, I think all the pieces are clicking over there in Detroit right now. I think this is going to be a blowout. I think Geno Smith is going to go home crying. I think they're going to be fucking 3 or 4 quarterbacks deep before they give up and realize they got nothing against that defense.
Yeah. Rex Ryan is going to be red. His face is going to be red as a lobster.
The only thing that's going to get is going to be wrecked.
I get what you're saying. I do. I see where you're going with that.
Calvin Johnson, 20 touchdowns.
I got to go with Starscream myself, Calvin Johnson. I think that Detroit, nobody wants to deal with Detroit right now. Detroit's it's a wasteland, and it's uncontrollable, and you can't even try to contain Detroit. And I think that Starscream is going to go for. I think he gets 2 touchdowns that game.
Couple touchdowns.
Geno Love goes home crying.
I think right down the line, this is a pretty clear pick. I think we all go with the Detroit Lions. This one.
Yeah.
The next one, there are a lot of teams in the NFL. We don't know if they're good or they're bad. They look crappy one week, then they look good the next week. The Pittsburgh Steelers are one of those teams. They looked awful against the Ravens 2 weeks ago, but they beat the crap out of the Panthers, which nobody saw. Nobody saw coming. Nobody saw the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They had a tight one against Cleveland.
Had a tight one against Cleveland, barely eked it out. They've been so inconsistent, but this week they host the worst team in the NFL so far, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're starting a quarterback who won the Pop Warner championship last year.
He lost it.
Lost the Pop Warner.
He came in second.
So Pittsburgh is hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I even though as inconsistent as Pittsburgh's been, I don't see any of us picking against the Steelers. Is anybody picking the Bucs here?
No, I'm picking the Pittsburgh Steelers on this to come in, steal curtain, crush down on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
And cut and dry, done.
Yeah, Heinz catch-up field. So, yeah, I think it's going to be, I don't think anybody outside of Pittsburgh is going to be watching this game, but they'll be happy watching it. If you're from Pittsburgh.
No, my cousin's, he lives in Tampa. He's already packed it up. He's already packed his bags. He packed his bags. He's set. He's ready to go. He's gone.
Yeah, he's waiting for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
He's waiting for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's waiting for the first-round draft pick in next year's NFL draft.
So we got Pittsburgh down the board here.
Yeah, Pittsburgh across the board.
Next week, one of the big games this week, we got Cam Newton, Superman, traveling all the way up to Baltimore, Maryland to play the Ravens, the controversial Baltimore Ravens, in a big early clash. Who do you got? Carolina Panthers or the Baltimore Ravens, Joe?
I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens right now just because I think the Ravens at home, they got a lot to prove. They lost Ray Rice for, whatever. Ray Rice was involved in something. We don't really know what it was. There hasn't been any videotape of it yet, so we don't really quite know what's going on.
We tried to get it.
We tried to get it, but we were denied access to it, so we don't really know what's going on. We think he might have the flu. So Ray Rice, not involved in the game, but I think they're going to play extra hard to make up for the missing Ray Rice, and I think that the Baltimore Ravens will take this one.
Well, yeah,
Ravens are tough at home.
Yep, so the Ravens are tough at home, and the Ravens are missing Ray Rice, and the Carolina Panthers are missing Matt Hardy, who's also had trouble.
Matt Hardy got, I believe he was in a fender bender, and he has a sprained ankle and can't play in this week's game. So he is also a non-factor. They have a really good defense. They do have Superman. But I feel like they have Return of Superman. They don't have
Superman for the Quest for Peace.
Yeah, they have Superman for the Quest for Peace. They don't have like the real Superman.
I think I'm gonna go with Superman for the Quest for Peace in this one. Call me an iconoclast, but I like the Panthers. I don't think they've played. The Ravens have a good defense, but I don't think they played as good of a quarterback as Cam Newton, the Quest for Peace. I think I like the Panthers by a little bit in this one. Next up, we've got Emmanuel Lewis and the Buffalo Bills traveling to Texas to play Brian Fitzpatrick and the Houston Texans. Two teams, well, the Buffalo Bills are now at 1-2. Houston Texans are at 2-1. Who do you have in this one?
I'm going with Buffalo on this one because I think Buffalo is still a pretty strong team. I think they started out good, and they had a couple slip-ups, but it's in Buffalo.
It's in Houston, actually. It's at Reliable Stadium.
Oh, it's at Reliable Stadium?
Yep, the new Astrodome.
Ooh, you know what? That's a game changer. I got to change my pick on this one. I'm going with the Houston Oilers.
I have to go with the Houston Oilers as well. They got they got J.J. Watt, Ariel Foster, running all over the field.
Ariel Foster's not playing in this game.
He's not playing in this game.
He's hurt right now. That's a game changer. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills.
All right, I'll give you one more. You can change your pick one more time, and that's it.
I'm going with the Buffalo Bills on this one.
I'm going to go with the Houston Texans at home. Emmanuel Lewis as a quarterback, I think he's one of the weaker quarterbacks in the NFL. Daniel Bryan isn't much better, but I think the game changer is J.J. Watt. I think the Houston Texans get a nice little home win here, and they beat Emmanuel Lewis and the Buffalo Bills.
It's going to be a tough one though without Ariana Grande.
Nope. Yeah, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a tight and sloppy win. Just like my first time analyzing back in the summer of '82.
What do we got up next?
Well, up next, we've got the second worst team in the state of Florida, the Jacksonville Jaguars, with Brock Bortleman starting his first game.
Brock Bortleman did start last week.
Heading to Qualcomm Stadium to play the San Diego Chargers in a West Coast game. As much as I like Brock Bortleman, and I do think he is the second best rookie quarterback this year behind David Carr, you know, the Chargers, they've gotten off to a surprisingly strong start. The Jaguars, I think they got some guys that were playing for the LA Kiss earlier this season.
Yeah.
So I have got to go with the San Diego Chargers by at least 2 touchdowns. But Brock Bortleman will be a gem in that pile of poop for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yes, the Jaguars, a lot of their defensive line was working at Lowe's last week.
Yeah.
Now they're playing football.
They were over at Home Depot doing credit card fraud, and now they're out there in the gridiron.
Oh man, I was caught up in that. Don't bring that up.
Yeah.
Oh, my credit card. I gotta, you gotta go to Overshawn Hardware. They won't steal your credit card information.
Yeah.
That's all. I learned the lesson the hard way. I'm never going to Home Depot again.
I went to Home Depot and I bought a nice DeWalt impact drill.
Yeah.
And it turns out that I also bought 36 acres of land in Nigeria, which I didn't remember doing.
In Lagos, Nigeria.
Currently in Lagos, Nigeria, I now own a good chunk of land, a diamond mine or something like that. Under another name, so I don't know what's going on with my credit card, but I called the cyber police, so I think the cyber cops are going to take care of it. I've let them know about the situation.
That's good.
And we're going check in again next week and figure it out.
Yeah, right now I'm just using cashier's checks.
Yeah, I've been using old traveler's checks.
Yep. Western Union money orders. I have to call my dad a couple times a day.
Yeah.
Say, hey, go down to the right and send me a money order.
Yeah. It's embarrassing, but you know, you do what you got to do.
It gets the job done.
Gets the job done. What do we got up next? Let's see.
Up next, we've got Matty Ice, Matt Ryan traveling to Minneapolis, Minnesota in the Metrodome. Not the Metrodome, but it's not the new stadium the Vikings are playing in. They're playing in the Minnesota Gophers football stadium, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
There's too many stadiums for me to remember.
The Caddyshack.
The Caddyshack Dome.
Yeah, the Caddyshack Dome.
And the 1-2 Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings, another team, they got off to an impressive start, but have kind of stunk since then.
You know,
They played against the Rams.
when your star player does really well the first week and then beats his kid half to death before week 2, and you lose them, it's going to change the face of your football team from a winning face to a very bruised and battered child's face. So I got to go with Atlanta in this. I don't think the Vikings are going to be doing a whole lot of pillaging and Viking sort of behavior this season. I think they're pretty much their dreams of getting to the playoffs are done.
It's going to be sad and depressing, like the movie Eric the Viking with Tim Robbins.
Yeah.
That was the worst $250 I ever spent at many mall cinemas.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oof.
Oof.
That was my heart.
Yeah, that one came up from way down there.
I had one of those extra spicy Slim Jims on my way here.
Yeah.
Hey, it's not agreeing with me.
No, they're usually a little disagreeable, hard to talk to bastards.
Like my kids.
Yeah, they're like a couple of stepkids that like you didn't ask for, but you're trying your best. You know, they let you know on a daily basis, you're not my real father, and they try to run away. That one just tried to run away from them. Luckily, you got it back down.
Oh, brother.
So coming up, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, the 3-0 Philadelphia Eagles, going to San Francisco, the Golden Gate State over there to, find out if Colin Kaepernick really did drop an N-bomb this week.
Well, they're playing against the Eagles and Riley Cooper. Him and Colin Kaepernick are probably going to be able to bond before the game.
Yeah, they can get together and they can just drop N-bombs for no reason.
Throw around that word.
Yeah, they can throw around, the N-word and challenge all the N-words to a fight like Riley Cooper did at a Keith Urban concert. And then Kaepernick can, he can show off his tattoos and his pipes and say, any of you N-words got anything on this? And
Well, this is the Fox game of the week now, so Joe Buck is probably going to have a heart attack during this one.
oh, yeah.
Somebody's going to
Definitely.
upset him,
Yeah.
that little egghead nerd.
Yeah. Yeah, I am not a fan of Joe Buck, I'll tell you that right now. But what I am a fan of is I'm a fan right now of Philadelphia's offense. And I think they're putting up good numbers. I think Nick Nolte's
looking good.
really working his ass off. He's come back hard ever since all those OUIs and all the arrests, the photos of him with the scraggly hair. I don't know how he's doing it.
Sometimes in prison, that's the big thing in prison is weightlifting.
Weightlifting, throwing spirals.
Yep.
Getting back into gear. And Nick Nolte's he's been doing great.
Like the movie The Longest Yard.
So I think
With Burt Reynolds or Adam Sandler, either version.
Either version. Me and Ron agree on this one. Philadelphia Eagles. You gotta go with the
Gotta go with the Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers. They're another team. Are you good? Are you bad? I know it's only week 4,
I don't know.
but there's so many teams. They look good one week, they look terrible the next week. It's like the bartenders at Memory Lane Music Hall. Rest in peace.
Hard to tell what kind of talent you're gonna see.
Exactly, hard to see. That's why unfortunately it closed. But inconsistent. Nobody wins trophies when you go 8-8, unless something weird happens. You play in a bad division and you go hot in the playoffs.
Yep.
If I'm what's his face, Jim Harbinger.
Oh, Jim Harbinger.
Jim Harbinger. Jim Hamburg.
Jim Hamburglar.
I am pounding my fist on the table. I am kicking the fence.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. You're the San Francisco 49ers, one of the premier franchises in football. You cannot go 1-3.
You got a brand new stadium.
You got a brand new stadium.
I don't know what else. What else can we give you? You're like a spoiled brat. Like, you know,
Right.
get out there, play the game, play some good defense, get some touchdowns, stop dropping the N-word.
Yeah.
Key to victory. That's me and Ron's key to victory for the San Francisco 49ers.
Don't be racist.
We don't think you're going to win this week, but if you follow those steps, you just might have a chance.
Absolutely.
Next game we got coming up.
Sunday
night game at 8:30
on NBC.
on NBC. Going to Dallas, biggest, craziest stadium in the world, owned by the craziest, oldest, decrepit man on earth,
Now that Al
Jimmy
Davis is
Jones.
gone.
We got the New Orleans Saints, who haven't looked that good this year. They didn't let us down last week, though. We picked them 3 weeks in a row. First 2
Finally.
weeks, they bent us right over a couch and took, and had their way with us. Third week, they decided to let us, get a break and picked up a victory. But I don't see them doing it this week. I think Dallas, after that first week where Dallas looked awful, I think they got embarrassed, and I think they realized that they need to pull it together, and they have pulled it together. And they've been putting up some points. Tony Roma's pizza, like Ron said, he was like a wife that just needed to be shook
A little bit.
a little bit, and now she's out there and she's doing it. She's out of the coma. She's alive and well, and she's putting up numbers.
Putting up numbers. Well, I read a statistic in the USA Today, that New Orleans Saints, they're 8-1 on Sunday Night Football. So it's going to be, I picked the Cowboys here. It's hard to beat them at the world's largest gay bar, no offense, Texas Stadium.
Yeah.
They're a hard team to beat. Saints might be hard to beat on Sunday Night Football, but Texas Stadium, even though it's not the old Texas Stadium that Troy Aikman and Daryl Moose Johnston played in.
Oh, the Moose.
The Moose.
Why are they booing him? They're not booing him.
They're saying Moose. One of the great fullbacks of all time, Daryl Moose Johnston. I digress. The Texas Stadium, it's the biggest stadium in the NFL. The Saints, they don't have that the swagger that they had when they won the Super Bowl, and their defensive coordinator was putting on bounties to break people's legs. It's not the same anymore. It's not the same New Orleans Saints.
If you aren't allowed to break people's legs and you got to change your whole way of playing defense, it's hard to pick up victories. If you know you're going to get paid $50 to blow out a guy's ACL, you're going to play a little harder. And they took that away, and I think they've kind of ruined a team that people really clung to after Hurricane Katrina came through. People were like, I like this team. They're getting paid $40, $50 per torn ACL. They're doing great. They won a Super Bowl. They brought some happiness back to the town. But then the NFL says, it's illegal to pay people to put people in the hospital because that's considered assault and battery and a crime. And now they haven't been playing so well. So we'll see how it goes. But we both, like we said, we both got the Dallas Schmel Boys.
Schmel Boys. Yeah, it'll be a happy night at Keenan Hobby's house.
Oh, Keenan Hobby's got to be loving it.
Him and his 12 kids.
Him and his 12 kids is totally cussed Keenan Hobby Cowboys jersey that he's wearing every day of the week. I've never seen him wear anything else. Never. I've never seen him outside of that jersey.
He'll be dancing. He'll be with his dogs they'll be wearing matching Tony Romo jerseys.
He doesn't even need to wash the jersey because he wears it in the shower and just soaps up.
He lathers up the jersey.
Lathers up the jersey. It's perfect.
He loves the Schmel Boys.
He's a big Schmel Boys fan.